Hey everybody, it's Carolyn with Carolina Crafting, and this week I made this card and posted it on my website and my social media, and I promised a tutorial to go along with it, so that is what I'm doing today. I thought instead of using the same suite, this is from the Violet Dreams suite collection that I featured in my projects last week. I wanted to start with my product that I'm going to be featuring this week, which is the Fun for All bundle. It comes with stamps and dies, that cute scarecrow and some crows and some other things. And I feel like a lot of us are getting kind of in the fall mode, so let's make a card to start our week off with this week's product showcase. First of all, let me tell you the paper you'll need and the sizes. This is a regular A2 card base, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then you're going to need a piece of coordinating cardstock, or I'm using the same color, that will fit your front panel, which is 4 1/4 by 5.5. Then you'll need a piece of designer series paper that's also 4 1/4 by 5.5, and this is our in color gingham paper. This paper looks so pretty for fall, especially the golden glow and the peaceful pine colors. I'll be using it a lot this week with the Fun for Fall bundle. Then you're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock that matches your A2 cardstock base, and these are 2 inches by 5.5 inches. And we need to do some scoring on these. So let's do that first, and then we'll have all of our cardstock taken care of and can start doing the fun part of creating all of our elements for the card. So let me bring my paper trimmer in. And we're going to do a little bit of scoring on each. So we're going to need to score it at every 1/2 inch. So put it in your paper trimmer, or if you have the scoreboard, you can use that. So I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch. Move it over to 1 inch. And score it again. And then I'll move it to 1.5 inches. And score it again. And then I'll do the same with my other piece. Score it out 1/2 inch. Out 1 inch. And 1.5 inches. Oops. There we go. Okay. And then we're just going to take our bone folder and give all those lines a good burnish. We're going to do a fan fold, which you'll fold one in, then fold it back the other way, and then fold it one more time, opposite from the way you just folded, so that it comes out like this. And then we'll do the same to this one. Fold it back this way. Actually, let me do it on this side. And then we'll fold that last one and give it a good crease as well. Then you have 2 of these. We're going to call them bumpers, because they are what you put on each side of the front of your card to make it float above your card base. Okay, next we're going to take those 2 pieces, the cardstock that's 4 1/4 by 5.5, along with the designer series paper that's 4 1/4 by 5.5, and you're just going to adhere them together. And I'm trying to decide if I want to use the larger check or the smaller one. It seems like I've been using the larger a lot in my projects, so I think I'll try the smaller one today. So let me get some glue, and we'll just adhere that. And you're gonna put it right over top of this one. Make sure they're, make sure they're right together, one on top of the other. All right, now I'm gonna let my glue dry a little because we're going to actually die cut into this. So I'm gonna put it aside, and now let's do some of the stamping and coloring. I'm going to bring in my stamps and Memento black ink, and I'm going to stamp a scarecrow and a couple of the bales of hay. And for some reason my bow there in the middle, I always don't get it inked on the scarecrow good enough, so go back and make sure I had that. That looks good. And then I'm going to stamp a couple of the hay bales on here. Okay. And I'm going to color mine with my Stampin' Blend, so I'm going to put just a piece of scrap paper under there. And the colors that I've chosen is to color this with is I'm going to use Peaceful Pine for the grass. For the scarecrow, for his clothes, I'm going to use Cajun Craze and Misty Moonlight. And then I'm also going to use some Pecan Pie for his hat. And then Golden Glow, of course, for any of the parts that are hay. And then for his face, I'm going to use some the light crumb cake to color his face in. So while I start coloring, I won't make you watch all of that in real time. We'll fast forward, but I'll get started coloring. Alright, we've got all of our coloring done now, and one of the colors I failed to mention, I didn't pick out a color for his shirt, so I went back and got Cloud Cover to do to color his shirt. So let me get all my Stampin' Blends moved out of the way, and now we're going to do a little die cutting. Alright, so we need to die cut our scarecrow out. So I'm going to get him lined up there. And I like to use this, it's called mint tape. I get it from scrapbook.com, and it's just the low tack tape that I can make sure my die stays in place while it's going through the stamp cut and emboss machine. I moved that a little bit. And also this is a little bit funny about, it's kind of hard, I think it's this way though. Because it almost looks like it fits either way. And you probably couldn't tell even if you turned it the wrong way. Okay, let me get my machine out. And my plates. And let's roll this through. And also I'm going to go ahead and grab a piece of scrap white. Let's see, I thought I had a piece out here. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, here it is. Let me see if this will turn this way. Yes. And I'm going, this is from the Stylish Shapes. I'm using one of those banner. And that's what we're gonna put our greeting on the front. So let's roll this through. Okay. I'll move my machine aside for a minute, but we're not quite done die cutting yet. All right, so that's going to be for our greeting. There's our scarecrow. We got to cut out one more hay bale. Okay, I'm going to put him back on that side. And then the piece that we set aside a while ago, the cardstock with the Designer Series paper that we glued together, we're going to need him now. And we're going to use one of the Everyday Arches and try to put that right in the center and cut a panel out. Actually, I might go a little more towards the top because that'll give me more room at the bottom for my greeting. What do y'all think? Does that look about like the center? I believe it does. So I'm gonna use some of that mint tape and just put that in place. Let me grab my machine and we'll run that through. Now when it gets over here to this side, I'm going to run it through a couple of times because it's trying to go through the Designer Series paper and the cardstock. I just want to make sure it does. So I'm going to run that back through. So that'll have two cuts on it. And that worked perfectly. And now you've got this piece you can save for another card. Let me move everything out of the way so we can start working on our card. So I also, before I started, I cut a piece out of that same arch that would be just a piece of white that would fit in here. And what I'm going to do with it is we're going to do a little sponging on it. So I'm going to bring that scrap piece of paper back in, and I'm going to grab some Peaceful Pine ink. And I think I'll do the Balmy Blue. I'm going to grab some blending brushes. So on this piece of cardstock, we're going to just be blending, our scarecrow is going to go on here. So we're just going to be blending some grass and sky on here. So let me take my brush And I just want a wash of color. I don't want it real dark, so I'm going to start off to the side and then bring my color up onto the cardstock. Yeah, onto the cardstock. All right, I think that's enough of the green, but it's got this grass stamp, so I think I'm going to put some of those little grass clusters on there too. I'll just randomly place a few. Hey guys, I'm so sorry. I realized my video cut off. It said I ran out of space, and I didn't realize it till I was blending my sky. I just did the same thing that I did with the Peaceful Pine. I used Balmy Blue and blended this in the sky with a blending brush, and then I also stamped my Hoping Your Day is Wonderful with the Memento black ink. So now we're ready to start putting our card together. So this is just the A2 card base made out of Golden Glow, and we're going to put our bumpers on. These little guys that we made in the beginning. When you're gluing them down, you're going to glue one to each side of your card and make sure the edges are to the inside. That way your card's just going to look more polished and finished. So let me grab my glue, and this is where I realized that my video had stopped, so I got a little glue on this one. I'm going to place it on this side, and I'm going to turn it just so I can make sure I've got those edges lined up good. And I do like using the multi-purpose liquid glue for this, just so I can wiggle those edges into place if I need to. So let me put a little on this other bumper. And put him on this side. And again, I'm going to pick it up and eyeball it from that edge just to make sure I've got everything lined up good. Okay. Now, this piece is going to go right on top, lined up with everything else. So I'm going to put some glue, excuse me, down the tops of these bumpers. And place this down. I'm going to start with one side and then just kind of close it down on the other. And I'm going to put it flat, and that'll help me make sure I'm getting all those edges lined up perfectly. And I'm going to hold those sides just for a minute so my glue can adhere good and attach. Okay, and now you can kind of see how your shadow box is starting to take shape. The next thing you'll do is you'll want to put your piece that you cut out that's the same size of your opening. You're going to glue it down right in place, right where that cutout is. So I'm going to push it flat again and put that right in the center so that's lined up where your die cut shape is there. And next we'll put our scarecrow down in there, but I'm going to put him on dimensionals. I think that'll just make it more more interesting, give you more levels of, different levels of height to your card. So let me grab my dimensionals. I'll probably use some of the big ones and some of the minis on him. Put a mini down there and out here on his hands. And then he'll go right here in the center of everything. Okay. And then we can add our hey and our little sentiment or greeting on the front. So what I was thinking is I glue one down and then put the other one on a dimensional and put my greeting over here on the side, or even right in there. What do you think if I put it off to the side? That's what I did with my other card. Where did I put my, here it is. The take care I put off to the side like that. I kind of like that. Might do that here too. So let me go ahead and just put a little glue on the edge here for this hay bale, and use some dimensionals on this one. And then I'll put some dimensionals on the side here. And let's see. Right along there. Except I need to straighten it up a little bit. Okay, there you go. And then all you need to do is just add an inside piece there to write your message on. But isn't that cute? Just a little shadow box. And you can do this with any shape, because you see I used the oval shape and I cut a frame out. We could have done that for this one with the large scallop oval that came with the Violet Dream Suite. But I don't know. I thought that one for the fall and the scarecrow, maybe do him a little bit simpler. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this shadow box tutorial. And remember, this week we're going to be making a lot more cards and projects with the Fun for Fall suite. So I hope you'll join me and come back and see what else we make this week. Thank you so much for watching.